As we've mentioned before, Patty's not the only one working on books. I haven't put pen to paper in a while, but just because our schedule has been berserk. But I am working on a book called Marriage Tips for Men, Rules of Engagement and Matrimony. And these are a series of rules. They're all rule number one, based on my learning, my training. I'm a well-trained husband. Some lessons I learned quicker than others, and some lessons I learned harder than others, and some lessons I'm still learning.
I'm still trying to teach you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something. Some of these lessons, most of the lessons Patty taught me, not like textbook style, but I just learned them from her,
from life.
But some of these lessons God taught me, such as this one right here. Rule number one: no, fellas, it's not okay to look. Don't believe me? Ask your wife. Let me let that sink in for a minute. It's not okay to look. Don't believe me? Ask your wife. You know, I mean, I've heard that so many times. Well, it's okay to look. And listen, keep your cards and letters. I know I've actually heard some wives say, I don't mind, I look too, that kind of thing. I don't know. But Job said, I have made a covenant with my eyes. Why then should I look upon a young woman? See, here's the thing, fellas. Nobody wakes up one day and says, I think I'm going to go have a physical affair with another woman. It doesn't start that way. But it starts with our eyes. God designed men to be visually stimulated creatures. Whether you're talking about an attractive woman or a piece of chocolate pie or a link of boudin or a big bowl of jambalaya, if you look at it, things begin happening. If I look at I'm not a big chocolate pie person, but I am a boudin guy. If I look at a pot of crawfish long enough, the Pavlovian response is going to happen. My mouth is going to start salivating just from the visual stimulation of looking at that delicious food. So our bodies, God designed them to be, we are visually stimulated. So here's the thing. Also, and I just remembered that I needed to do a segment like this on every show, and so I didn't really put my notes together like I wanted to. But here's the thing. You need to know what the Bible has to say, first of all, about sin. A thought that enters your mind is not a sin. You haven't sinned until you allow that thought to fester and you begin entertaining that sin. It's like I heard somebody described or read somewhere, somebody describe thoughts like birds, flying over your head. Well, you can't control that, but you can keep them from building a nest in your hair. And so why am I saying that? Because here's the thing. When C.S. Lewis said, he who has lusted after poached eggs has already committed breakfast with them in his heart. Well, he was playing on Christ's words that whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery in his heart. So if you are, and that's not limited to a living, breathing woman. That applies to pornography. That applies to light pornography on your Instagram feed, sir. On your Facebook page, if you like some photographs of some skimpily clad woman, then you're an adulterer. Your heart is full of adultery if you allow your eyes to land on that image, and you are dishonoring your wife. And so, gosh, I completely forgot where I was going with that. I'm starting to get fired up because it does fire me up. Because here's the thing. Okay, I remember. I'm back. I can't control what happens in my body if I let my eyes stay on a pot of boiled crawfish. I can't control the automatic things that happen in my body. But you know what I can control? These. I can control these. I can control where my eyes rest. And I can look away from the pot of boiled crawfish. I can look away from the attractive woman. I can look away from the provocative billboards that line the interstate. I can look away from the advertisements that pop up on the side of a web page or something. Mm-hmm. And I've trained myself to look away, because if I don't look away, then at some point, I don't know where the line is, but I don't want to know. At some point, the normal biological triggers are going to take over, and you get to this point of no return, or at least point of not as easy return. So, you know, and I hear guys talking about, well, you know, you can get right up to that line as long as you don't cross it. What a stupid thing to do. What a horrible, stupid way to live your life in that regard. I want to stay as far away from that line as I possibly can, because I know my frailty. And so the safeguards I put in place is I control what I can control. Job said, I have made a covenant with mine eyes. And so I have made a covenant with my eyes. I will not let them rest on things that might cause me to think less of my wife and instead think about some other woman. And not only, I mean, I owe it to Christ to begin with, to have a pure heart, but I owe it to her. This is the woman that I love. This is the woman who knows me intimately, that we know each other intimately. And this is the one with whom I want to share those thoughts and that time and all of that stuff. And so it's not okay to look. And if you're not sure about that, ask your wife, honey, do you mind if I follow these Instagram models and spend my time salivating over them? Yeah. And just see what she has to say about that. So anyway, sorry, I got a little hot under the collar. But anyway, it comes from a place in my life where I've had these discussions before with young men under my tutelage, let's say. And it was a frustrating thing that, you know, it was difficult to get them to grasp that. And so anyway, it's not okay to look. If you don't believe me, ask your wife. Marriage tips for men. Hashtag marriage tips for men. What else? Well, look triggers desire. In James, where it talks about sin, that, you know, God doesn't tempt anybody. God doesn't cause us to sin, but we are led away by our own evil desires, and then it gives birth to sin and so forth and so on. You can stop that, especially if you're a child of God. You can stop that. You can short-circuit that process because I'm telling you, it starts with the eyeballs, men. Women are not so much visually stimulated as men are. But with men, I can tell you, because I are one. Men are visually stimulated. You can control your eyes. So control your eyes, men. Turn your head. Well, I got through with my rant, and we're not even out of time.
Yeah, you sure did. So, but Time and So says people give up on marriage too easy today. Sadly, it's becoming a dying institution.
It really is. People are afraid of commitment, and they also don't understand what love is. Boy, I'm maybe thinking of another rule I need to write down. You know, but love, you know, people think when they're first married that infatuation feeling is what love is. Man, that's just that ain't even, that is a poor counterfeit of what real love is. Real love is a non-perishable commitment. That's the value of love. Patty and I have actually talked that, and we don't have like morbid discussions about, hey, wonder which one of us is going to die first. But we have had discussions about what our life would be like if one of us, because one of us, unless the Lord sees fit to take us at the same time, one of us likely will precede the other to heaven. And, both of us have just thought about, we're like, well, will we look for somebody else? And we both kind of went, gosh, I just don't think so, because...
well, you shouldn't say that publicly. Chances are, if something happens to me, you will get married. And
that's what percentages say, but...
but you probably would. And if something happened to you, I'd probably get married too, because I have to have some muscle.
Wait.
I have to have some muscle.
Hire somebody. But where we're going with that is, I can't
to
imagine
have to get
ever
to the point we're at now
Yeah.
with somebody else. It would just be like,
I can't imagine that ever happening. We have been through so much together.
yeah,
I can't imagine. I can't imagine ever wanting to have that level of a relationship again with another person, because
yeah.
it could
Well,
never,
and
because it's
work.
irreplaceable.
Well, it is work. You know, we didn't get here overnight, and we've been through a lot of.
But
pain,
that's
a lot
not
of
what I
heartache.
meant.
That's a lot of work to get to where we're at.
Yeah, but I didn't mean I wouldn't want to go through it again. I'm saying I don't want to have what we have with anybody else ever again.
Well,
you know?
you won't, because they won't be me.
That's true. That's true.